My name is Adeze. My husband of 11 years died on a Tuesday morning, and by Thursday evening, his family was already in our compound. Not to mourn him, not to sit with me or comfort me, not to comfort my daughters who were still crying themselves to sleep every night. They came with a notepad. His younger brother Emmanuel was walking around the compound with an actual notepad, writing things down. The compound my husband built from the scratch. The compound he built from nothing, a 6-bedroom duplex with boys' quarters. A garden my husband planted himself because he said he wanted our daughters to grow up around nature. Emmanuel was moving around the compound like a vulture, pointing at the cars, the Prado and the Camry. A Prado that my husband bought for me when I gave birth to my last daughter. He was pointing at it like it belongs to him, writing it down. Then he walked inside to the cabinet where my husband kept documents, and then turned around and asked the houseboy where the keys were. I came down from upstairs and asked him, Emmanuel, what are you doing? He turned around and looked at me with so much disgust. Emmanuel that used to call me our wife, our senior wife. Emmanuel that used to eat my food every Christmas. Emmanuel that used to eat my pepper and oil looked at me like I was a stranger. And he had the guts to turn around, called me by my name, Adeze. We need to start talking about the properties. We need to start talking about the plaza in Oka Road. We need to start talking about the plots of lands in Inewi. He went on and said, yes, we need to start talking about all his properties, all his houses everywhere. You know the situation. You know you do not have a male child for my brother Adeze. You already know the situation. And this vulture is talking about all my husband's investment properties. The ones that pays my daughter's school fees. And this is happening barely few days his brother passed. He said, because I do not have a male child, all my husband's property will go back to his family. The plaza he spent 4 years in building, everything, all his investment properties will go back to his family. Me and my daughters get to have nothing, even the house we live in. So basically, me and my daughters will have to live empty-handed. I didn't scream at him at all. I didn't throw things. Where will I find strength? My husband basically just passed a few days ago. I am just starting to mourn. And all this is happening. I just turned around and I told him, Emmanuel, get out of my compound right now. This vulture laughed in my face. Yes, he actually laughed. He turned around while walking out of the gate. He said, Adeze, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Before he finally walked out, he said, you are just a woman. I cannot trade words with a woman. You need to start thinking about your daughters from now on. You are just a woman, but don't make this harder than it needs to be. And I responded to him and said, oh yes, I am actually thinking about my daughters. And that's the reason why I am not going to move an inch. They thought grief has finished me. They thought grief has weakened me. They forgot the woman who has held this family down for 11 years is still standing here. And that woman is me. And I am the woman. I will not let their stupid tradition strip my children of their inheritance, strip my children of their rights. A few days after that, they came back with a letter. Not a conversation, not a family meeting request. A typed, printed, signed letter delivered to my gate man like I was some tenant being evicted in my own home. The letter said I had 30 days, just 30 days to hand over all title documents to them. The plaza in Oka Road, the lands in Inewi, the investment property in Opera Avenue, all of it, they want me to hand over the title in 30 days. They want me to sign away everything my husband spent his entire adulthood building. Everything he sacrificed for. The years my husband ate just one meal to be able to save up and build all those investments. Oh, our struggling years. The years I had to hold the family down. The years I had to run the family with literally nothing just so he can reinvest all the profits into the business. That is what they want me to hand over to them in just 30 days. Like it's nothing. Like it's a borrowed property. I picked up my phone immediately and I called their elder sister, Auntie Ngozi. The one who danced at my wedding. The one who said I was the best thing that ever happened to their brother. I personally called her, and when she picked up the phone, I asked her, Auntie Ngozi, are you part of this letter? She was quiet for a while, and she said in a very low tone, Adeze, you know our culture. A woman with no male children. All the property goes back to his family. You should know this. This is our tradition. It is not wickedness, it's our tradition. Just cooperate with my brother. Cooperate with the family. They will settle you well. When you hand over everything, they will find something and settle you. They will settle you well. I promise you that. They will settle me. Just a settlement. After 11 years of building, after 11 years of struggle and building with your brother, they will settle me. And this is not as if I do not have any child at all. I have kids, but they are girls. So now they are telling me that my girls do not have claims to anything that belongs to their father. After that call, I sat on the kitchen floor and I cried. Oh, I wept, I cried. Deep, ugly cry. You know the type of cry you hide from your children. I cried to my satisfaction. After crying, I picked myself up from the floor, wiped my eyes, and went to go make dinner for my kids. And when my kids went to sleep that day, I picked up my phone, laying down on my bed that night, and I searched for the best property and estate litigation lawyer in the state. Because I will not let their stupid tradition strip my children of their inheritance, strip my children of their rights, at least not while I am still breathing. I scheduled appointments with a lawyer. To my greatest surprise, when I walked into that lawyer's office that day, what he told me about the law floored me totally. The lawyer's name is Chukwuemeka Dike. Someone recommended him to me. As soon as I walked into his office, the first thing he said to me was, "I am not cheap, but I win cases." I walked into his office with a bag full of documents. Everything I could find, literally every document I could lay my hands on. Both marriage certificates, both title deeds, tax documents, tenancy agreements, every document I could find. He spent basically 30 minutes going through these documents one after the other, and then he looked up and said, "Mrs. Adeze, are you aware that under the Anambra State Prohibition of Infringement on Widows and Widowers Fundamental Rights Law and under the Administration of Estate Laws, your daughters have equal inheritance rights to their father's property, and your husband's family have zero rights to claim these properties?" And I took a deep breath and I asked him, "But why are they doing this? If they know all this information, why are they doing this?" He replied me and said, "Because a lot of women don't do this. A lot of women do not fight like you are fighting right now. That is why they do it." After he said that, I felt some kind of relief, a big relief, and that got me thinking. So Emmanuel walking around my compound with a notepad, taking notes of the property. And Auntie Ngozi saying all those things she was telling me on the phone. And the letter of intimidation they sent to me was just a way to intimidate me out of fighting for my husband's property, out of fighting for my children's rights. All of that was all built on assumption that I did not know my rights. But when Barrister Dike got to the will, my husband left. His face changed. He said, "This will is valid on its face. Your husband was thorough, but his family is contesting it. They have already filed a counterclaim saying the will is forged. They are now laying claims that you coerced a grieving man." My husband was not grieving. My husband was not sick when he wrote that will. My husband was totally okay, hale and hearty, when he signed it. He knew exactly what he was signing when he signed it. So where is all this coming from? And now I am left to prove it in court against a family with connection and community backing. But Barrister Dike said we have 2 weeks before the next hearing. 2 weeks to gather evidence. 2 weeks to gather the witnesses we need. 2 weeks to locate the notary who certified the will. 2 weeks to file our counter response before court freezes any asset. I went home, and within that 2 weeks, I searched my house like my life depended on it. Every counter, every shelf, every box my husband ever owned, I searched all of them. The study, the bedroom, the store at the back, I searched everywhere. And one night, around 1 a.m., I was sitting on the floor, searching our closet, when I found one brown envelope. I quickly opened it, sat down on that floor, and I couldn't breathe for a few minutes. What was inside that envelope? What I found inside that envelope and how it turned the whole case upside down. I promise you, you are not ready to hear it. You are not ready. They tried to erase us, but we're still here. I didn't run, I fought, and I won. When they were all done, the judge, who was a woman, I will always remember that the judge presiding on this case was a woman. The judge looked at the family lawyer and said that this court does not find any evidence of coercion or forgery. All counterclaims on the Oka Road Plaza, the Nnewi lands, and all the investment properties are hereby dismissed. The will stands. The Oka Road Plaza, the residential buildings, the commercial properties, the lands, all of them were all legally secured under my name. And Emmanuel and his family walked out of that court that day with their faces full of shame. And so we won the case. I was so happy. But I want to tell you what happened after, because nobody actually talks about what happens after. Auntie Ngozi sent a message through my husband's cousin saying that I had brought shame to the family and that I am a disgrace, that I have destroyed what could have been resolved peacefully. So now I, Adeze, who lost a husband, who held my daughter's hands through their nightmares since their father passed, I, who they were dragging around in court, is now the one that brought disgrace to the family and not them dragging me around in court. Sorry. Can you imagine that? I cried about it. I'm not going to lie. Even after winning them, I cried. Because I didn't just lose a husband, I lost a whole family that I actually thought was mine. And here is what I gained. I gained all the properties, both the investment properties, both the lands, both the residential properties. I gained all of that, and all the income now goes to an account under my daughter's names. I restructured every one of it with my lawyer into proper trust, so that even if anything happens to me tomorrow, nobody, not even a cousin, not an in-law, can touch anything their father left for them. To every woman watching this who is being told that her children do not count because they are not a particular gender, listen to me and listen very good. The vultures in those families may not see your children, but the law sees your children. Document every single property your husband owns while he's still alive. Make sure you know where his title deeds are. Make sure you know his lawyers. Have these conversations with your husband right now while he's still alive. Right now, have these conversations with him. They mocked me and called me a widow with no son. But I walked out of that courtroom with my 2 daughters, secured properties, and the story that I will tell my daughters and make sure my daughters tell their own daughters. They tried to erase us, but we are still here. I didn't run, I fought, and I won.